All right. Okay. So now that we kind of have okay looking feathers at the top of the character's head, the next thing we're gonna do for Red is we're gonna start putting in his face features. Probably the simplest thing to kind of start off with would be the eyes. So you folks can pretty much guess what we're gonna end up using for that. Yeah. So we are gonna be using our sphere. I'm just gonna go with the defaults. If you folks want to see what the defaults on this are, yeah, it's 20 by 20 is our divisions. I'm just gonna kind of go with that. Okay, and go ahead and click on create. Now, as soon as we drop off the sphere, you're gonna notice the sphere is humongous. Yeah, that works for us though. If you don't see your sphere, it's probably hidden inside of the bird. I'm gonna kind of bring this forward a bit. Okay. Now, one good thing about spheres are, especially for eyes, is that there's a section that is specifically good for the pupils. These are going to be at the poles, yeah, so north and south, yeah. I'm going to do my rotation on here. I kind of did it manually, but I do actually want this set at 90 degrees. Yeah, it's just so it's kind of looking straight ahead for now. We can actually move around the eyeballs after, yeah. Okay. I am also going to check in my front view. Okay, and what you're probably going to notice is it's like insanely large. So I'm going to kind of scale this down. It kind of looks like the proportion is around here somewhat. Yeah, about we'll go at about 0.21. Yeah, for the scaling on here. I'm going to be placing this to the right of center. It may be kind of hard to tell where the center of the body is too, so I can go into shading, put wireframe on shaded, and that'll give you an idea of like where the eyes should like overlap. Yeah. Okay. So I use my tool to kind of bring that in. Also, in my side view, you can kind of use that to place the eyeball. Yeah, so we're gonna kind of place the eyeball. One thing you notice is as you start to push this back, it's gonna move past the angle where you would expect the eye to kind of be showing. So we may have to actually bring it out a bit, and then I'm actually gonna turn the eye a little bit. Yeah, so if you notice, I'm kind of turning it so it matches the angle of the face. Yeah, so kind of bringing that maybe about to here-ish. Yeah, so it's kind of sticking out. We can still see details, but we don't want the eyeball to be sticking out too much. Yeah, it's gonna seem a little bit weird. Okay, so there's one eye. Okay, now of course, once you get one, you want to make sure you do have your secondary one. I'm going to go ahead and name this already. So this will be right eye. Yeah, so his right eye over there. I am actually going to remember my translate x. Yeah, so if you notice my translate x over here is minus 0.186. Yeah, so minus 0.186. We're going to use this information to put the other eye. Yeah, so I'm going to now modify. I'm going to freeze this transformation. You notice it has a lot of information on top of here, but if I go modify and I freeze it, what'll happen is it'll zero all of that out. Yeah, which is kind of super helpful for us. That way we don't have like when we're doing our secondary eye, it's going to look it'll have the correct translations. Yeah, it'll just kind of see this as a default. I'm also gonna duplicate this. Yeah, so I'm gonna go edit, duplicate special, and go to the box next to that. This is how I can kind of mirror over the other eye. Yeah, so again, edit, duplicate special. So I'm gonna go to the square next to that. You're gonna notice that your scale, yeah, all of these are gonna be set at ones. If you want it facing in the opposite direction, so you notice right now it's turning a little bit this way, right, in the x direction, so a little bit to the left. I want it to be turned similarly, except a little bit to the right. So this time I'm going to put a -1. Yeah, so a -1 for the x. Yeah, so this is your x, this is your y, this is your z. When I do a duplicate now, it's going to create that same exact eyeball. The only difference now is it's facing in the opposite direction. Yeah. Then I can kind of move this over. And again, this is where that number kind of comes into play. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of bring this over to maybe about here. 0.186 times 2. And so that'll end up being 0.372. Yeah. And now it's going to be like equally on both sides. Yeah. Okay, so that should probably kind of set it. Look kind of bulbous. Yeah, I may actually end up kind of pushing these in a little bit, but for now this will work. Okay, now we also need to make our beak. Okay, kind of like with our eyes, yeah, beaks. I think initially we kind of immediately just go to our cones, yeah. So you can go to your create menu, polygon primitives. We're gonna choose our cone over here. Okay, your cone settings. The one thing I'm gonna ask is for your height divisions. We're actually gonna increase it. I believe right now it's gonna be set at 1. We're gonna bump that up to 4, but we can kind of work with all the rest, yeah. So 20 axis divisions, that'll work. And then here's our cone. Okay, so we made a nice little neck for our angry bird. Just like before, I'm gonna rotate this. Yeah, so we're gonna have it facing straight towards us. So for your rotate X in your channel box, if you could put that at 90 degrees. I'm also gonna bring this like way forward. Yeah, so super way forward on top of here. And then we're gonna use this to shape the beak. Now, we do want to have the ability to make the beak go and open and close. So this is actually just going to be the top of the beak. So we're going to flatten this bottom area. Really simple to do. What I'm going to do is go into vertex mode. I am going to select all the vertices that make up the lower half. Yeah, so that's going to be all of these, all of these, all of these. Yeah, so if you notice, I'm leaving that midpoint alone, but I'm grabbing everything else. Then I just kind of use a scale tool to flatten that. Yeah, so I'm going to flatten it. It's going to look a little bit weird right over here, but not to worry. We're going to then use your move tool to kind of bring that up. Yeah, and this is going to be the bottom of the beak. Yeah, so that would be the bottom of the beak over here. Okay, so shape should look pretty good. One thing that is gonna happen is you're gonna notice this thing is like humongous. So I'm gonna go to my side view, use my scale right. So remember that's our R. We're gonna scale that down, kind of find a proportion. Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably experiment with this a little bit. Then use the move tool to place it. Probably your front view is the best place to kind of figure out where that's gonna be. Okay. Yeah, if you notice the what is it, the wireframe kind of makes everything look kind of nuts. Yeah, a little bit crazy. Okay, I'm gonna, let's see, this feels a little bit wide. Yeah, so I'm actually gonna kind of scale that in a little bit and kind of scale this down a little bit also. Okay, the other thing I'm probably gonna do with this is, yeah, before I even place it, so I'm going to kind of bring this back out again, is to shape it a little bit more. It feels really rounded compared to this. Yeah, so what we're going to try to do, I'm probably not going to do the smile necessarily, but I'm going to make the top part a little bit like curvier. Yeah, so I'm going to go into edge mode. I'm going to select these edges, and you notice I'm double clicking. So I'm holding down my shift key, double clicking. Yeah, I'm catching all of these guys. Yeah, and then I'm just going to scale this together a bit, and then probably do the same thing with this row. So I'm going to catch these guys again, hold on shift key. I'm catching 4 of these all together, kind of scale that in a bit. Yeah, and so it's kind of getting that shape a little bit. Let me bring this down a bit too. Yeah, so at least you kind of have a little bit of that shape going. Okay, and then I'm not a big fan of how these edges are kind of closing in, so I may actually go into vertex mode right over here, catch that bottom area and kind of scale that in. Yeah, so again, for yours one, you don't have to make it like exactly like this, but again, I kind of wanted to tweak it a little bit. Yeah, so if you notice, I'm not done quite yet. It probably looks like I'm gonna scale this up a little bit. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Okay, and then these ones definitely, yeah, scale in. And then I feel like these are going to be critical, so I'm going to kind of scale those in as well. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Yeah, that definitely looks a lot better. And then these guys as well. Yeah, so kind of getting that shape over there. Yeah, I kind of like it having a little bit more pointy on the top. Yeah, so I feel like that's the key here. All right, okay, and then that's going to be our beak. I'm going to take a look at it from the side. What you're probably going to notice from the side is that it may end up being a little bit too pointy. I kind of rather have a little bit less beak, so I'm going to kind of scale this down using the R tool, right? And then for scale, okay, we're going to scale that in. Okay, and then we kind of have a beak. Yeah, it kind of works. Again, the eyes are bulbous. I think I'm actually going to be pushing those in a little bit more. Okay, but this would be our upper beak. Yeah, so here's our upper beak. I am actually going to take a look at my eye. I think I forgot to rename this, so I'm going to put this at left eye as well. Okay, and then there's our top beak. We can reuse this for also the bottom beak. So anytime we want to reuse something, we can do a Command D. Yeah, so Command D will let you duplicate. We will rotate this, yeah, so we will rotate this downwards. Whoa, okay. We will rotate this downwards, but only in the Z direction. I'm going to put this at 180, so it's facing in the exact opposite direction. The other thing that I'm going to really concentrate on doing here is making sure that this rotation is a little bit more down, yeah, and then I'm going to uh, absolutely push this in more and also scale it a bit, yeah, because I believe the mouth, although it like is similar, it is going to have a little bit it should be a little bit smaller, yeah, so it kind of just kind of looks better if it's a little bit smaller too. So I'm going to kind of drop that in right over here, give him a little bit of an overbite, yeah. Okay, all right, yeah, not too bad. Okay, so that's going to be our beak. Okay, now you probably noticed like this isn't the best angry bird. He looks a little bit more like surprise bird. And the reason why he doesn't look angry, of course, is he does not have his eyebrows yet. Yeah, so we definitely want to make sure we have that. Oh, sorry, I forgot to name the lower beak, so I'm going to go here and rename that as well. There's lower beak. And then I'm going to start making the eyebrows. Yeah, so here's the eyebrows. Super simple. These are going to be cubes as well. Okay. One thing I am going to do though is I'm going to turn all of our divisions. We set them up at 4 just so we had enough edges to play with for the actual body of the character. I'm going to switch this to just divisions of 1. Yeah, so we're just going to go with a basic cube. I'm going to bring this out a bit. Yeah, and then this is going to be our eyebrow somehow. Okay, how do we make that eyebrow? Very easily. Okay, I'm going to go to my front view. Definitely want to use the scale tool. Yeah, so you're going to kind of bring that down, maybe about to right about here, seems pretty good. Okay, and then to make the angriness, yeah, so I will also scale this down a little bit so you can kind of see it above the eye. I think this would be close to the correct proportion. Yeah, I'm going to kind of drop this off right in the center over here. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, maybe a little bit smaller. Yeah, but we can definitely work with that. All right. Okay, and then again, he's not quite angry yet, but if we right click, go into vertex mode and select this point right here, bring this down. Okay, there we go. Okay, and that's pretty much all we need for his eyebrows. Most of the time, I do know like it kind of mutates a little bit sometimes, but for us, we probably, especially at this point, we just want working eyebrows. So, okay, so I'm gonna right click, go into object mode again, and then now I can kind of move this around. One thing you're gonna notice is I did make it a little bit wider. I'm not gonna make it like super skinny. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a little bit of thickness, and this is just so that it is able to overlap the eyes, which again, very bulbous. Yeah, so I'm gonna push this back again, right into the body. Okay, trying to get it so that it overlaps over the eye. The other thing that I'm really going to try to concentrate on is rotating the eye so that it's kind of angled with the head, yeah. And this is why it's important that we didn't do it like necessarily a sphere. If we had done this as a sphere, what would have happened is your eyebrows would have actually kind of like been um, shooting off the head, yeah. Okay, which is a little bit weird. Okay, I'm also going to rotate this back just a little bit, yeah. Still has the angle, but that'll give me a little bit more following the forehead line. Okay, all right, and then there's one of our eyebrows. In fact, I'm going to label this. This is my right eyebrow. Okay, I do want this to be the 1. Yeah, so again, I'm going to memorize this number. This is minus 0.254. I'm going to have to use that for placement of the other eyebrow, but I'm going to go modify freeze this. So I'm going to clean out all the settings on this. This is the default location. Yeah. And then we're going to now go into here, and then I can do a duplicate special again. Okay, this one is going to be very similar. Again, we're going across the x-axis, so we're going to keep our scale -1. If you do your duplicate special, there's your other eyebrow. Okay, and then I'm going to move this one over. Yeah, so using the move tool, I'm going to move this one over and kind of drop it off right at that spot. Yeah, and then if you remember, I did say 0.254. Yeah, so 254, which would be, I believe if we multiply that, that'll be 0.508. Yeah, so 0.508, and then we kind of have this that kind of settled on here. Wow, this guy really looks like the Terminator. Okay, so now we can kind of take a look at your character. I did actually want to kind of set up some eyelids on this character, so that's what I had forgotten. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Sorry, I also forgot to name my left eyebrow, so I'm gonna do that right now. But yeah, for the eyelids, yeah. So what we can do is we can kind of utilize what's already here to create eyelids. In fact, I'm gonna start with the right eye. I'm actually gonna duplicate it. So I'm gonna do a Command D on top of there, and you'll notice as soon as I do that, it kind of created a, it kind of created like that what is it? It kind of created another sphere that's sharing the same spot. Because the eyelid is going to be a little bit larger, I'm actually going to scale it up very slightly. Yeah, so I'm going to try to keep it below the brow. Yeah, so I'm going to try to keep it below the brow. The other thing is I'm going to use my rotation tool, and I'm only going to rotate it in front to back. Yeah, so I'm going to rotate this so that it is kind of facing towards us. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of rotate this back and then kind of turn it a little bit. Yeah, so this would kind of be where the brow would be, right about here. Okay, and then I'm only gonna need the top half for now. Yeah, so I'm gonna go into my face mode. Yeah, so right click, go into face mode, and then wipe out the bottom. Yeah, so wipe out the bottom. Okay, and then I'm gonna have myself a nice little eyelid already. Yeah, and I can already just immediately just rename it. Yeah, so that's my right eyelid. Yeah, so my right eyelid over there. Okay, and this is cool because the rotation, yeah, once I go into modify and then I freeze it, yeah, the rotation will actually kind of match and cover the eye in a pretty convincing way. So it looks like it's actually covering it. For some people, I know this is going to be a little bit of an issue. They don't like the look of having this openness over here. So what we can do is we can close it. I'm going to go into edge mode, double click, and what this is going to do, and I can kind of show you with the x-ray, is it kind of selects all the edges all the way around. Okay, and then I'm going to go extrude this. Yeah, so with all those edges, I'm going to go edit mesh extrude or Command E. Yeah, and then I'm going to choose this option right here, which is called in edit mesh, choose merge to center. And what that's going to do is it's going to combine it all together. So if you notice, it all combines right in this center point right over here. Now if I get out of x-ray and then I go back into object mode, okay, what you're going to notice is I do have this portion over here. Okay, that'll cover the eye. Okay, and cool part is, again, I can kind of move this and we have that part. Yeah, now if you want to also have one of these at the bottom, you can. What you can do here is, so this is right eyelid, so right eye lid top. Yeah, so this will actually be the top one. We can also duplicate it. Yeah, and this could then become, if I rotate it, this could become a bottom one as well. Yeah, so if you want him to do any kind of like what is it, like maybe his bottom eye also, so he can do a little bit like of a twitch for the eye or something. Yeah, you can actually use that. Yeah, so you can kind of use that over there. Okay, and then I'm gonna call this one right eyelid bottom. Yeah, so bottom. Okay, and those two will work really well. Again, for the eyelids itself, you don't have to actually have them in play. If you have these selected back here, you can just kind of rotate them back so they're not showing all the time. Yeah, which works out pretty well for us. Yeah, but if you do need them, right, you can just kind of click on it and then, oh, okay, there's our eyelid. Yeah, that'll show up right over here, and also your bottom eyelid. Yeah, which will show up right over here. Yeah, but they don't have to be in view at any point in time if you don't want them to. Yeah, we have enough room to rotate them back. Okay, if you want this again for the second side, same thing, right? So just make sure you duplicate it. Okay, we are going to again rotate this down a bit. Okay, and then maybe change our angle. Yeah, but remember, this is kind of the same thing as the previous one. We do want to scale this up. Yeah, so scale it up a little bit. Okay, then we can go into our face mode, wipe out all of this stuff. And again, this will just help with like expressions and stuff. I'm gonna actually rotate this a little bit more so it's kind of a little bit flatter and easier for me to select. Okay, and then I'm just gonna kind of clean house, yeah, so I'm getting the bottom half of it. Looks like I missed a little bit, so I'm gonna select these ones as well. Okay, delete. Okay, but same as before, get all the edges, so edge mode on the eyelid, double click, mesh tools, oh sorry, edit mesh, merge to center, yeah, that'll be the top eyelid. Again, I'll rename this one. So now we got left eye, lid, top. Okay, and then I also have a bottom one, so I duplicated it. Oh shoot, instead of, before duplicating it, I'm actually gonna freeze this transformation, yeah, so, sorry, so F eyelid, top, okay, and then just kind of freeze it so it's not acting too crazy. And then we can do a Command D to duplicate it, and then this will just be the left eyelid bottom. Okay, and then we can rename that one over there. There's a bit of rotation, and again, if you want to, you can keep the eyes in there, or you can, and I believe they will close. Let's see, will they close? Oh, they may not. Yeah, I apologize for that one. I think I overcut that side. Let's see if the other side closes though. So we have this one, and then we have this one. Yeah, so I think I may have overcut the other one. This will actually let you close though. Yeah, so that'll give you some stuff where you can kind of go back and forth and create your eyelids. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So there's our, again, I'm going to hide these eyelids. I don't really need those right now. Again, this one too, I can kind of hide that. Oops, not the eye, the eyelid. Yeah, so I'm going to hide that as well. All right. Okay, so we have most of our pieces as far as like the face goes. Let's see. Yeah, so we're about ready to get this set for coloring and animation.